Hey guys, how y'all doing? Gonna read some more chapters of this. Sorry about missing y'all yesterday. It's crazy. Last 2 days I've been on the computer so much, doing so many things, Zoom meetings, things like that. So I appreciate y'all's patience. Good morning. I hope you're awake. I've already worked out, done some curls and sit-ups and things like that. Had a cup of tea, worked on some things. Hope you guys are good. Thank you for getting your work done and sent in to me. I love the Google Classroom. Parents don't seem to like it, but I see you guys getting the hang of it. So we're gonna be on chapter 7, and do me a favor, if you have watched the song that I put on our Google Classroom under Magic Treehouse, um, and or if you haven't, go and listen to it and just give me a thumbs up or let me know that you listened to the song because it's a really cool song and it actually goes with this book. And again, this book has a really cool little twist at the ending, so I hope you enjoy. All right, here we go. It's a morning scary ghost story. Chapter 7, Ghost Story. Jack bounced in the saddle. He felt the cool night wind across his face. He couldn't tell where they were going, but he trusted Dusty to follow the other horses. Finally, Dusty caught up with the herd as they began to slow down. Jack snapped his reins. Dusty came up beside Slim and Annie. "Howdy," said Slim. "Howdy," said Jack. "Howdy," said Annie. "Are you okay?" Jack pushed his glasses into place. "Yep," he said. "You?" "Yep," she said. "That was some good riding, Shorty," said Slim. "Thanks," said Jack, smiling. He even liked being called Shorty now. "Where are we headed, boss?" Jack asked Slim. "Blue Canyon," said Slim. "Okay with you?" "Yep," said Jack. "This way," said Slim. He slapped his horse, and they all speeded up again. Slim steered the herd to the left. Soon he led them through a deep, narrow pass. Finally, they came to a boxy, open space, surrounded by walls of rock and lit by moonlight. "We'll corral the Mustangs here in Blue Canyons," Slim said. He got off his horse. He helped Jack down. Annie slipped off a Sunset. "Take him to his maw," Slim told Annie. Annie led Sunset to the mare. In the moonlight, the two Mustangs rubbed against one another and neighed. As Jack patted Dusty's damp neck, he remembered the last two rules: praise and reward. "Thanks," he whispered to Dusty. "You were great. You were super great." Slim unsaddled Dusty, then handed Jack his saddlebags. "Take these over to the grassy spot. We'll camp there," he said. As Jack carried the saddlebags, his boots still felt stiff and tight. His legs were sore and wobbly, but he didn't mind. He threw down the saddlebags and his backpack. Then he flopped down himself. He was very tired. Annie joined him. "They seem so happy to be free and together again," she said, gazing at the moonlit Mustangs. "Yep," said Jack. He lay back, using his backpack as a pillow. He looked up at the stars. "If we just had the answer to the riddle, everything would be perfect," he said. "Yep," said Annie. "Hey, Slim," he called. "I have a question for you." "Shoot," said Slim. "Do you know the answer to this riddle?" Jack asked. "Out of the blue, my lonely voice calls out to you. Who am I? Am I?" Slim was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Sorry, Shorty. I don't know that one." Jack's heart sank. That's okay," he said. "We don't either." "I have a question too," said Annie. "Why does the piano in the hotel play by itself?" "I do know that answer. I do know the answer to that one," said Slim. I'll show you. "What is it?" said Annie. "It's Lonesome Luke," said Slim. "He's a ghost of a cowboy who wanders the prairie." Jack sat straight up. I saw him, he said. I just remembered. He scared the rustlers. If he hadn't come, I would never have gotten away. Oh, yeah? Slim chuckled. Well, lucky for us, Lonesome Luke sometimes likes to help folks out. Slim threw his saddle down next to Jack and Annie and sat against it. Years ago, Lonesome Luke had a gal who he was just crazy about, said Slim. She couldn't take the Wild West, though, so she went back east. What happened then? Asked Jack. Luke went loco. Every night, he'd show up to the hotel and play the piano. He played Red River Valley over and over. Then one night, he just vanished into the prairie and was never seen alive again. His bones were found a year later, but folks say his ghost returns to the hotel to play Red River Valley. It goes like this. Slim took out a harmonica. He began to play a song. It was the same sad song Jack and Annie had heard in the hotel. Jack lay back down and listened to the lonesome tune. A coyote howled in the distance. The horses stirred in the dark. I better take some notes, thought Jack. But he didn't write a word before he fell asleep. He didn't even take off his boots. Chapter 8. Who am I? A fly buzzed by Jack's ear. He slapped it away. He opened his eyes. The sun was high above the canyon walls. He had slept a long time. Slim and Annie were sitting by a fire, drinking from tin cups. Coffee? Biscuit? Oh, sorry, this is Annie saying that. Coffee? Biscuit? Annie asked Jack. Where did you get them? Said Jack. A cowboy always carries biscuits and a canteen of coffee, said Slim. He walked over and gave Jack a biscuit and a cup of coffee. It's hard as rock. It's hard as a rock, Slim said, and bitter as muddy river water. But a cowboy takes what he can get. Jack took a sip. Jack took a bite and a sip. The biscuit was very hard and the coffee was very bitter, but that was okay with Jack. Since cowboys didn't mind, he didn't mind either. I'll saddle up Dusty, Slim said, and take you back to town to catch your stage. Then what will you do? Said Annie. Head south with my herd, said Slim. Sell 'em, then ride across the plains and round up more mustangs. While Slim saddled Dusty, Jack took out his notebook and pencil. He wrote, Cowboy breakfast, bitter coffee, hard biscuits. Hey, Shorty, called Slim. What are you doing? Taking notes, said Jack. What for? He likes writing things down, said Annie. Oh, yeah, said Slim. Me too. In fact, I first came out west to write a book, but one thing led to another. The next thing you know, I'm a Mustang herder. Slim, you should write your book, said Annie, and let the Mustangs go free. Think so? Said Slim. They looked at the grazing wild horses. I know so, said Annie. Yep, said Jack. Your book should be about the Wild West, Slim. Slim kept staring at his herd. Maybe you're right, he said. I could settle in Larmy, and right there, wouldn't have to chase after rustlers anymore. Slim turned back to Jack and Annie. Yep, I think I'll be a writer. Let's go, before I change my mind, he said. Yeah, said Annie. I'll go tell them. She jumped up and ran to the Mustangs. Jack packed his backpack while Slim packed his saddlebags. Then Slim and Jack climbed onto Dusty. They rode over to Annie, who was stroking Sunset's neck. I told him he's free as the wind now, said Annie. Sounds good, said Slim. Give me your hand, Smiley. Slim pulled Annie onto Dusty. She sat in the front. Slim snapped his reins, and Dusty started off. The sun was hot as Dusty climbed out of the canyon. When they reached the top, they peered down at the canyon floor. The Mustangs pranced playfully, their coats shimmering in the hazy light. "They'll find their way out soon," Slim said, then cut across the prairie. "Yell goodbye to your pal, Smiley." "Stay with your mother, Sunset," shouted Annie. "Goodbye." Out of the blue, a voice called, "Bye." Annie gasped. "Who said that?" she asked. "The ghost?" "Nope," said Jack. "It was just an echo." Boy, I'm getting goosebumps. "That's real." "Nope, it's just an echo. It's caused by sound bouncing off the canyon walls." Slim cupped his hands around his mouth. "Who am I?" he shouted. "Am I?" came in the distance. Ay, 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 these goosebumps. Whee! "Oh man," Jack said softly. "That's the answer to Morgan's riddle," said Annie. "Echo," she and Jack said together. Jack looked at Slim. "You knew the answer last night," he said. Slim just smiled and snapped his reins. "Let's go, partners," he said. All right, I'll send 9 and 10 a little bit later today. Peace, y'all.